Good morning, folks. Welcome to Ash Allen Talks. And today we're having a very important guest. And as you know, usually we're having entrepreneurs and life coaches and a lot of people around the world who can help and make the lives better. And today's guest is so much important, and she is having a full of background, knowledge, and experience. Let her introduce Brittni Cosgrove. Welcome to Ash Allen Talks.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Brittni, at the beginning of the podcast, I would like to ask some questions from all the entrepreneurs, because how they step into entrepreneurship and how they choose their path, this is what they have to do, and how the experience accumulated over time of period, and which point you have identified yourself that, okay, I am Brittni, I have to do this one and I have to help the people, and how you get involved into this phenomenon job.
Yeah, it's kind of a funny story. Definitely lots of twists and turns. So growing up, I was always hyper fixated on a career. I loved working and I loved pouring my energy into work, but I never found that thing that clicked. So fast forward all these years, I'm in my mid-20s, overworked and already dealing with burnout. And in 2020, I always say when the rest of the world hit pause, so did I. In 2020, for the first time in my waking memory, I had that moment to hit pause on life and really just start taking a look and saying, what am I doing? Where am I going? What do I want? And it was this reflection time that I realized I was burnt out and I was not fulfilled and happy doing what I was doing. And so that was the year that I started my first online business, and I fell in love with entrepreneurship and really getting to build something and pour into something that is for me, through me, and by me. And it was the following year that I started studying life coaching techniques and went through a year-long certification process and started my coaching business a year after. And it's just been a process of following the open doors and following the energy, the aliveness in me. I've known since I found this work that I do not believe that career and purpose are connected for everyone or even most people. But I've known my entire life it's connected for me, and finding this coaching world really has just been the totality of that.
Wow. And Brittni, you help become a lot of people magnetic, authentic, and confident. How do you define magnetism in today's world?
Yeah, great question. I find that when you are so in tune with your authentic and aligned self, so really tuning inward and unapologetically owning all parts of you, we live in this way that's naturally more compassionate and naturally more in flow. It's this acceptance-based way of living. And from that energy, it kind of radiates in a very natural way, and people pick up on that. It's different. People can feel it. Especially, I think, when there's so much when we look outside of our homes. There's so much going on in the world, and it can be intense and it can be a lot. And so really, when you are just that pillar and so connected to yourself, that is this energy that's rippling out that people pick up on.
Wow. And Brittni, you help people deepen relationships. How is inner work the gateway to better connection with others?
Projections are everywhere, and it's not a good or bad thing, it just is. We as humans are naturally wired to look through what we call our world lens. And so that is a whole culmination of our upbringing, our past experiences, our past relationships, all of these different types of components that go into making us who we are and how we see the world. From that, if we are not doing our own inner work to clear misunderstandings or clear limiting beliefs about people, about our relationships, about love, about success, anything like that, it plays out in our lives, into our relationships. So one of the best things you could do for any relationship, romantic, family, friendship, professional, any relationship, is to clear out your own biases and your own your own lens so that you are just holding space for people to be themselves, owning who you are as well. And it creates just more flow between the relationships, because
Wow.
then we're not projecting our stuff onto others.
Yeah. And you sit on the board of Travel Through Trauma. What does healing through travel mean to you personally? I mean,
Yeah, I started traveling solo when I was in college. And back at that time, I was really struggling with severe anxiety and depression. But it was something that I'd hidden from the world. I was suffering on the inside and I just didn't know how to let that out. And my very first international solo trip was to Ireland. And the liberation that I felt, the freedom to be who I was, and I felt like I was in this low stakes environment to where I actually could be my authentic self. I could enjoy myself. I could be spontaneous. I could really step into this ownership of who I am, because I felt like I was like, well, if I never see them again, it's okay. You know, these people I was meeting, the things I was doing, I was like, if this gets to be a standalone thing, then I can let myself have fun. I can let myself step away from the anxiety and the struggles I have back home. And it was interesting because I felt for the first time this spaciousness and this ease and this freedom to just live and to do what I wanted, to just spend the day in a way that felt natural and fun and enjoyable, and not all these shoulds, like I should do this, I have to do this. I just let myself be spontaneous and in flow. And over time, I realized that that was a medicine to the anxiety and depression that I was struggling with back home. And I just found so much freedom and authenticity in myself when I would travel. And that is something that we really get to bring out from Travel Through Trauma. We send our clients through a 4-month curriculum that we built. We have mental health therapists, we have myself and my life coaching, there is lifestyle and wellness and health coaching, language classes. So we developed this incredible curriculum. Our clients go through it and then they get to feel the impact of solo travel, to integrate all the work they've done and feel the impact of what travel and healing can bring.
wow. And Brittni, I was thinking when you're explaining about this, that a lot of my client, maybe they have the trauma and who are listening to this podcast, and they have no idea how to identify, okay, I am into this and how can I follow the cause, and what are the healing methods they have, and which is the pinpoint and where the starting point for the people to come over to you.
Great question. I always say, for wherever you are, no matter where you are in your journey, everyone can start with just bringing a little bit more mindfulness into their day and a little bit more gratitude into their day. So no matter where you are in your journey, just right now, just take 2 or 3 deep, slow breaths. Just give yourself this moment to be present, to be in tune with where you are. And then I have a daily gratitude practice. Every single morning, I'll say 3 to 5 things that I'm grateful for. And these are just gentle things that no matter where you are in your healing journey, can start brightening every day, can start bringing you back to your true self. And then I always say healing is one of the best things you could do for yourself, but it's not easy. So build that support system for yourself, whether it's hiring people like me as a coach, bringing in your therapist, family, friends, a community, people that want to see you happy, successful, and want to see you health in life. And just knowing that it's a journey, one step at a time, one day at a time, and where you are is part of it. There's no such thing as good or bad, right or wrong. It's just allowing what is, and where you are is okay.
Wow. And Brittni, what's a spiritual red flag in a relationship no one talks about?
Ooh, any bypassing, especially like around spiritual bypassing. It can be really easy to just want to look at the highlight reel and the joy and the high side of life. And that's just not all of what life is. So make sure that all of your humanness gets to be expressed and seen. All of your emotions are valid. Everything you experience is valid. And I'm not saying to be complacent or to act from those emotions. There's still consequences and accountability. But it's more along the lines of allowing your process. Allow yourself to be a human. And if you have someone in your life that is not giving you the space to have your own emotional processes, to validate your own emotions, anything like that, that's a red flag, as well as anything that's bypassing the reality of something. It's like, oh, with the spiritual world, like, oh, it's in God's hands, or just think happy thoughts can be seen a lot in like the mental health space. Anything that's like in that toxic positivity, that pushing past into the bypassing realm, I see as a red flag.
Wow. And Brittni, you have talked a lot about the traveling and breakthrough sessions. So what's the most hilarious thing someone said to you after a breakthrough session?
I always just really love when they're so surprised, like because a lot of times my work is around the subconscious.
Yeah,
And
because
so,
because Brittni, I raised this question because for a lot of people, these healing methods and these sessions are very new to them, and how they feel after 1 or 2 sessions and after 1 month, 2 months, how their composition and what they expect from you and how they feel in a self. And because we need to know, yeah, how they feel and how they getting to the survival mode from the some kind of a lot of troubles and trauma, and how they are processed and what are the feedback they are giving to you.
it's just creating more aliveness and freedom within the body. A lot of times people think we need to get the external things, like, oh, I need to be done healing and then I'll feel better. But it's working with the relationship with healing that feels amazing. And so when you start really loving all parts of yourself, even the parts that procrastinate or the parts that judge or the parts that doubt, those are all just parts of us that we get to love. Or when you start really owning, like, this is what I want, and I want it for me, not because my family said I should have it, not because my spouse said I should. I want it for me. There's a freedom in living life on your terms. And there's a freedom in healing on your terms. And this is what I bring to people. You don't have to wait until you're done healing. You don't have to wait until you have the business, until you have the relationship. You don't have to wait for anything to start feeling free and that spaciousness, that peace inside. And that's where the magic is. You get to feel that along the way. And then when the heavier things, the sadness, the anxiety, the depression, when the other things show up, you become like a vessel for it. You're just holding space for the internal experience. And like I said, there's just this internal freedom that you get to feel.
Yeah. And when we talk more about Brittni, this business, and what advice would you give to someone trying to turn their passion into purpose-driven businesses like this?
Yes. The thing that really stands out to me is two things. One is to watch the mindset. You are separate from your business, even if it's a personal brand or a personal identity or something like that. Because when, your worth is separate than your net worth. Your net worth is a number. You are inherently worthy. You are beyond worthy. So watch the mindset for anything that's looking at like, oh, I'm only bringing in this money, so I'm not good enough. And then on the flip side, I think that a lot of times people, they'll feel that call, they'll feel that desire to bring their passion into some kind of business or product. And I love that. And find the strategy too. Follow the heart and look for strategy. It's the inner and the outer. And then along the way, it's your job to clear out any misbeliefs around money, around sales, around what it means to be an entrepreneur, anything like that. Because a lot of times we can be unconsciously living out of stories. For example, I grew up along the poverty line, and I had my parents that tried to be entrepreneurs, and it wasn't, they just struggled a lot. And that created a lot of stories that I've had to clear out so that I'm not projecting them onto my own business. Yeah. So for any newer entrepreneurs or anyone that's wanting to bring that startup to life, follow the calling. If there's a desire on your heart, it's there for a reason. So follow it and just take one step at a time, and don't try to recreate the wheel. Look for what's worked. Follow the models, the success models, and clear out your inner stories, and amazing things can happen.
Wow. And Brittni, I have to ask one more question regarding the business setup. How do you coach someone to lead with authenticity, especially in a world full of curated perfection online and the stuff, the AI? And I have seen a lot of advertisements also that the people are not coming forward and they are behind, and they trying to market with the AI voices and some illusions actually. So, but it's not interact much with the people yet. This when it's come to AI and 3D models. So, how to show the authenticity to someone?
Yeah. Right now, authenticity is one of the most important things you can bring into your business. And that doesn't mean that you can't use tools like AI. It's just that you want to be the one in the driver's seat and using tools that are in your toolbox, not expecting the tools to build the house on their own. So I'll say that again. You are the one that's in control. Use the tools, but don't put the tools in charge of everything. And so when you use AI to write captions, for example, that's a great way and it's very efficient and helps productivity in that ways. But make sure that you're starting with your own voice and you're using your own voice to rewrite and rephrase things so that your audience is hearing you, so that your unique flavor is coming through. So use AI and things like that as tools. But if you're not seeing conversion, it might be because it's taking your message and turning it into something generic. And that's not your unique magic. So use these things for productivity and efficiency, but make sure your voice is coming through. And really that comes from coming back to, why are you doing what you're doing? What is your deep desire, your deep purpose? So there's an exercise I take clients through and I call it like the 5 whys. I didn't make this up, but it's powerful. So ask yourself, take the thing that you want and ask yourself, why do I want this? You'll get like a 1 to 2 line answer. And then ask yourself again, why do I want that? Referencing the answer. And you'll get another couple sentences. And then again, you'll ask, well, why do I want that? And you'll do this 5 layers to really get to the deep core desire, that deep core why. And then that why, let that be your North Star. So let that come through in your marketing, let that come through in your messaging, because that's truly the undercurrent of why you're doing anything in the first place.
Wow. When I'm hearing from you about the mindset and the purpose, so it's like a poetry from your side. And because you have so much experience on it, and you have seen a lot of people who are coming to you for help, and you know the path and how to do this stuff. So I'm advising for a lot of my listeners who are listening to this. So you can reach to Brittni, and I will leave the detail and how to contact her in the description below. And Brittni, I have one more question regarding this. So many of your clients are ambitious, but ambitious can lead to burnout. How do you help them to find balance?
Yes, great question. Because I am a stand that you can have the life you want, and it does not have to come at the expense of burnout. So, burnout is really when we're not listening to our boundaries and we are out of balance within ourselves. So, what I do with people that are either recovering from burnout or afraid of experiencing it in the future is I help us set a container for their success. So, it's really about checking in internally. What is your honest truth right now? Is it that you actually don't feel like you have the energy to do this task? Or is there a resistance? Are you avoiding the task? And I help people see the difference between the two. Because if you're avoiding something, then that means that there's a limiting belief going on, or there's something subconscious playing out. But if it's that it's just not aligned, then I help people build up their intuition so that they can feel like at this time or right now, I need to prioritize myself. I need to go eat. I need to go rest. I need to take care of me. And because they are doing that and prioritizing themselves, how we do one thing is how we do all things. So when you prioritize yourself, all other areas of life get elevated as well. Versus when you try to elevate everything else, but you're not taking care of yourself, everything else will match where you are at.
Yep.
So it's really about just coming back to that inner compass and being honest with yourself and finding that clarity, that discernment between avoidance and intuition.
Yes. And Brittany, what's a powerful mindset shift that changed your life and that you now pass to your clients right now?
I would say the one of the first things that I learned was how to shift my words. And there was one shift that was massively transformational. I never say I can't anymore. I say I can, or I choose not to. And I never say I have to. I say I get to, or I'm going to, or I want to. I never say I can't. I never say I have to. I never say I need to. Any of those more restrictive languages. And for anyone listening, test it out in your body right now. When you think of something that's on your to-do list, say, I have to do this, and notice how your body reacts, versus I get to do this. And again, notice what your body does. And same with I can or I choose not to. Say I can't, and notice what happens with your body, versus I choose not to. And again, just noticing. Our words are so powerful. And so these are simple, subtle shifts, but they have made massive differences in my life.
Wow. Wow. It's a great story. And Brittany, when it's come to the relationship and identity and inner self, so how it can mix? I mean, finding a right person and a relationship, maybe the broken relationships. It's some people say that it's very very hard to get it back, like it's a broken glasses, and this can in some point can turn into trauma or inner self, how it can affect on their daily life, and how this inner peace work, and what are the matrices, and how you identify, okay, my client have this the issue, and this is the treatment I have to do for her or to him. So how you analyze your clients, and based on what?
Yeah. So it's really intuitive and meets the client exactly where they are. So a client will come in and I'll start by just presencing us into the moment, usually through a meditation or just taking a moment for everyone to arrive in our session. And then from there, we'll start with their intention, their goal, what are they working towards? And as they're talking to me about what's in the way, like why have you not reached the goal? I'm listening for the undercurrents, the stories beneath the scenes. And usually this has to do with worthiness, like I'm not good enough to have what I want, or it's a past fear being projected. A lot of times I see this with business or money. If someone had a lot of money and lost it, there might be that fear of losing it again. Anything like that. I'm looking for the story you're not seeing. And then as soon as I see what's playing out, the patterns and like the sneaky habits that you're not aware of, I'll bring those to the surface and we'll work it. So a lot of times this could mean going back to when that habit or pattern was created, which might mean childhood or just a past experience. It's also working with people on taking a belief, like money is the root of all evil. Taking that belief, if you believe that, you're gonna have a hard time making a lot of money because you don't want to be evil, and that makes sense. So I'll take a belief that someone has and I'll help them rework it through a new lens to find like what is true for you. Not the things that we learned growing up, not the things we've heard from society or family or friends or anyone. What's your truth? And then from there, we create action. We create action from your truth after clearing out the ways that keep you stuck. And this is where the magic happens, because then you get to be in movement, you get to be in action, taking steps towards the goals, but in that way that does feel clearer and lighter, and you're not living out of the old ways of being.
Yeah. And when you talk about this, I have one specific point about the fear and fear mongering. And even in corporate culture, a lot of people are capable of doing some stuff, innovative things, but they are not coming forward because of fear. If he or she will talk about me something, or something will happen, what if it went wrong? So not trying because of fear. So this fear becoming an actionable figure for everyone to skip their task and not to try something else, and not to come forward, and no innovation because of fear. So how a person overcome this obstacle?
Yeah. So fear is not bad. Fear is feedback. If there's fear, that means it's here for a reason. So I say, like, let's get clear. Why is it here? So when you have something that you know you need to do, a conversation, a task, there's that thing you need to do, but you feel the fear, ask yourself, and even just right now, like, what comes up when I ask, one fear I have about completing this task is, and then just trust what naturally comes up, what naturally arises. And this is a sneaky way of accessing the subconscious. And so usually you'll get fear of like, I'm not good enough, or I don't like, they'll think I'm crazy, they'll laugh at me, like something along those lines. Find out what that fear is so that you can choose, like, okay, is this a valid fear that I need to address? Or is this just an inner child or a part of me that's feeling nervous, that's afraid to be seen? And then from there, you get to take the action. And then it's coming back to, again, fear is not bad. And if it's here, that doesn't have to be a bad thing. And if you've done the work to have the discernment between avoidance and intuition, you'll know, it's like, is this a fear I need to act on? Or is this just a fear that my brain is making up? And when it's a fear that the brain is making up, which is the vast majority of the time, because most of the time we're not literally being chased by someone that's keeping us from doing what we need to do. Most of the time, the fear is being created in the mind. So once we can see that, then you have the choice. You can feel the fear and do it anyways. Fear gets to be here. Don't let it be in the driver's seat.
Wow. And Brittany, when it's come to the corporate culture, we have seen a lot of employees, and actually they are from a different part of the world, and they're working closely together in corporate culture, and they have seen their own differences. That means they have their own talents and their own working abilities and the stuff. So a person who is involved in a cumulative culture, so how he or she can pretend to be like, okay, I have to do the right thing and I have to do the performance well. And I have to learn from a lot of people, from a lot of backgrounds. So how to grow this mindset in the people? Because I have seen some people, even in some corporate cultures. So especially I'm sorry to mention the names, but anyway, some of the group of Chinese people, like 4 or 5 people, they get together and forming a group, and I have seen, and some other Asian people, they have get together and forming a group. So it's a kind of they're finding some common ground between themselves. So how they can grow the learning from others? So is it because of a fear, or it's a because of a comfort zone? How are you seeing this point?
Great question. And there's so many layers to it. This is a very nuanced question. What I will say is that there is power in diversity, and there is so much beautiful strength and just so much that can come from diversity. So that's a powerhouse to be surrounded by people that come from different backgrounds and different cultures and have different ways of thinking and different strengths. Like, if you are in an environment like that, that's a gift. So see that as a gift that it is, because you get to expand your worldview. You get to see what others are doing, how others are operating. You get to expand your ways of thinking. And I would say at the end of the day, we never are assuming what anyone else is doing. We're never assuming why someone is doing things or why someone else is taking the actions that they take. So watch any biases or projections that you have of what others are doing, because we can never truly know what's going on in someone else's mind or what someone else is experiencing. Yeah. So at the end of the day, if you're in an environment like that, own your unique gifts, own the gift of being in a diverse environment, and watch any projections. And then at the end of the day, you just get to benefit from being in this beautiful space where people are bringing all of their strengths to the table, and come to that with the growth mindset of like, wow, I have my strengths, but I also get to witness the strengths of everyone else and learn from that, grow from that, expand from that. And so it's not, like finds like. but there's also power in diversity, and it can both be true.
Yeah, because I raised that question, Brittany, because I am right now from Dubai right now. So here, a lot of people, even in our offices, we can see Indian, British states, and Asians, and Chinese and Russians. It's a lot. It's kind of a unity in diversity. It's a kind of a place I don't know, never been before. This is the first time I'm experiencing here in Dubai. So it's something very new for me, and I think a lot of people who are listening to this also feel the same way if you are from Dubai. So here we go. The answer is here from Brittany. And Brittany, a book that changed your life.
What was that? Sorry, I broke up for a second.
A book that changed your life.
Ooh. One of my favorites is called Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. And it has just, I love it. It's kind of like this idea that ideas are sentient. Ideas come to you for a reason. And it's just really given me a different way of thinking about the ideas that I have or the downloads that I have for business or life. And it's inspired me to move quicker and to take action on ideas, not just sit on them. So anyone that's kind of in, whether you're in a creative business or just in business or really just in that world of like, what else can I do? I love that book, Big Magic.
Wow. And your favorite breathwork technique?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with this one. Okay, so there's two that come up, but really my favorite one is for just slowing it down and working with anxiety, because a lot of times that's how my body works. It's very hyper, and so when the anxiety starts getting triggered, I feel that quickly. So when you inhale, exhale for twice as long as you inhaled. So inhale through the nose for like 4 seconds, and then exhale through the mouth for 8 seconds.
Most underrated mindset practice?
Meditation.
A quote you live
Even
by?
3 minutes a day.
Okay.
What was that?
A quote you live by?
Feel the fear and do it anyways.
Okay. One thing you tell your younger self?
You get to define success.
Wow. Awesome. And Brittany, thank you very much. We have enjoyed a lot here, and we have discussed a lot of insights, and it was a very fruitful session. It was a very knowledgeable, and we have discussed a lot about trauma and how we building a business empire, and how the entrepreneurship work, and how the different kind of classified people and how they are interacting together, and how to find the unity in diversity, and a lot of things. And thank you very much, Brittany, to join me.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.